Ashutosh Mishra as well, joining us live. Ashutosh, give us more. We saw those images where you brought us reports from areas of strong winds. Kudos to you for braving that kind of weather conditions. You're also right now at the coastline. We know that there is a warning been given for people against venturing into those areas. I hope you're doing safe.
Well, Nabila, we only saw the first wave at around 10:30 when literally the wind speed was so high that perhaps, it even moved the human bodies. Almost all the journalists who were reporting from this epicenter of this area felt the same. However, the wind speed has reduced drastically, but the impact which is expected after only 3 p.m., of course, all I see there was almost a high tide-like situation, though the water level is now has just started receding from this place. And but when the moment we see the impact of the cyclonic activities that coming to the coastal area, that's when the significant impact will start taking place, and particularly on these locality in the which is dominated area of the fishermen community, the businessmen, because everything is now at the moment is standstill here, because beyond the Mandvi port now I have just somehow managed to reach in the Sayala village of Mandvi, and there I see, since most of the people have left and evacuated, gone to the safer places, I only see a few local fishermen villages, these young boys who are here guarding their boats, the country-made boats. That's the only source of their livelihood when they venture out in the ocean, because most of these boats are parked just around the coastal line, and cyclonic activity, there is apprehension and the fear, and exactly why they are still here, just monitoring the activities, what's happening around here. In fact, they have also been advised and want to go to the safer place. This is not just ordinary storm or a flood-like situation, but it is a cyclone, and that is really become very difficult for the administration to convince these local boys and the young fishermen that better choose a safe place, go, because eventually the high tide, remember what you see the water level at this moment here, when there was a high tide, in fact huge amount of water that already entered in the villages. So the high tide situation, the water level was even more than a couple of feet at this scale. Since the water has now receded, of course it's a slight sigh of relief for these villagers here, the fishermen in this Sayala village. But of course, since the threat continue to be, and as and when the impact starts, the only impact will be the high wind speed with the velocity of 140 km, gusting up to 140 km. We have seen the previous instances of such cyclonic activity in the central part of the country. But Kutch have never been touched, at least as far as Mandvi is concerned. This part was never touched by such cyclonic activity. One experience that they have long back in 1998, and that's recalling the memory of that, that year. But people, however, have gone to the places, but yet few are adamant, still in the villages. In the around area, we are seeing the patrolling being done by NDRF, the police, and they are venturing around the coastal line to ensure there is no manpower, no exactly, booths are present around those areas. So they're ensuring that rescue takes place, they're ensuring supplies take place to the proper areas, and when the impact begins, the first priority will be to ensure the connectivity, restoring the infrastructure that will be affected because of this high wind speed.
All right, so it's really a cyclone that's expected to cause some kind of damage. And about 50 years since India has seen a cyclone of this intensity. Is that right, Ashutosh? We believe that 50 years it's been since a cyclone this strong and dangerous has hit the Saurashtra and Kutch region, and it's managed to sustain for this long in the Arabian Sea. That leaves us wondering what kind of impact would it have when it actually has its landfall.
The only reason exactly why the local fishermen and villages not ready to believe and cannot differentiate between normal storm these fishermen see in the ocean when they go for the fisheries. This is what is happening. A cyclonic activity is totally new for them. Of course, their previous generation, they have seen the 1998 devastation, the disaster caused by a severe cyclone, and usually, these cyclonic activities doesn't trigger in the Arabian Sea. But when that happens, that brings extraordinary situation. Those who have been convinced are already shifted. And remember, there is very interesting point that's always talked about people of Kutch, that in rest part of the Saurashtra or the southern area, southern western area, whenever there is tragedy, of calamity takes place, it is the people of Kutch who go and volunteer for the rescue relief such operations. So this will be perhaps first time when these activities are going to affect the people of Kutch in western part of Kutch and Mandavi, which has never been touched by such cyclonic activities or such devastation. They have only seen the flood-like situation or perhaps storm in the ocean during when they go for the fishing. But here what is happening is unprecedented situation, first time for them, and many of them believe that they have heard these stories of 1998 and previous such cyclonic situation. So they believe this is unprecedented even for them, and many could be probably curious, but more than it is a concern, apprehensions and a sense of fear in their mind that what will be impact of such cyclone on their livelihood, because most likely the countrymen was their biggest threat. There is threat on the kacha houses because there's a poor crowd. If I could just try to take a pan on these village area, could potentially see some structure. Look at these kacha houses belong to, because there's a very poor fishermen communities living along the coastal line. So if that brings really high velocity wind with gusting up to 140 kilometers, it is bound to trigger the devastating images. And if that happens, the biggest challenge for these fishermen and the people living in this village, rural part of Mandvi, that to bringing back the life when the normalcy restores, how they're going to survive further as far as the livelihood is concerned. So of course there are a lot of emotional commotions taking place simultaneously while they ought wait for it, embracing for the impact.